Welcome to Toffee TV. We are joined by the boys from the Originals, the Everton fan group, trying to bring some atmosphere to Goodison Park. And as we witnessed in the Merseyside derby, the place absolutely rocked. And it's this because of these two lads right here. These two lads helped bring the atmosphere back to Goodison Park. How did you get going? How did you get started? Why did you feel like you had to get this group together to try and bring an atmosphere to Goodison?
There's about a bunch of us, about 5 or 10 of us, and we all have season tickets in the Gladys seat, like a GT4, GT5, and we just sitting there for a couple of years thinking, looking down, just trying to get songs going, looking down, going, no one's joining in with us. So yeah, it's just all kicked off from there really. We just thought, all go to away games and all that together, and we just thought we've got to do something about it. So we've just brought, you see like all foreigners and all that, Europeans, it started from the Atalanta game.
Yeah.
Team there, and no one was in our
ground.
No. And then you just seen their section bouncing, and you just thinking, you're just looking at them, everyone's recording them, and you're just thinking, why can't we just make a bit of noise? Why can't we just be like them? So we've just all kicked off from there really, and just got together.
Can I ask you, have you noticed a massive difference between going away with Everton and seeing what it's like, and then coming to Goodison and then thinking, hang on, when we go away, like everyone's singing and standing up, and why here when we're in our home? Why is it silent? Is that something you've noticed?
Yeah, went away to Leicester earlier on this year, and just non-stop throughout the game. It was literally singing non-stop. And then you come to Goodison, and you're lucky if you get 3 songs a game. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you're lucky if you get three songs a game. But, going away, like, if we have, 2,000 away at Leicester, 3,000, even if we had that core group, something similar, or even less than that, in Goodison, then it'll be like that every week.
That's what it is though, isn't it? They're not, when they're away, they're all bunched together, aren't they?
Yeah.
So you've got all the main coaches and that, they're all together. Whereas they're all split up, aren't they, in the Gladys seat, somewhere in the park end.
It's hard, isn't it, I suppose?
So it's hard to get it going.
But you're absolutely right, it only takes a small group, but obviously a group that has to be together, of course. You can't be like 10 rows down, so sing this one, and hope it catches on. But it shows that when Everton are in fine voice away from home, like Saturday, for argument's sake, at Newcastle when we scored, you could hear songs, you could hear the cheer, and there's 50,000 Geordies in there with a couple of thousand Evertonians. You think, if we could get a percentage of that at home with our own crowd, it makes other people join in, and as we saw in the derby, I suppose that's got to be the main goal, hasn't it, really, to try to get everyone together, I suppose.
Yeah, it's got to be the main aim now. Everyone's got to be together at some point. I don't know when.
It'll be like,
you've got to look for Bramley Moore, the new stadium. That's what you've got to push for now.
Yeah.
But we're just trying to see what we can do now. Started this season, and hopefully next season something pushes on.
Yeah.
Better like, but you've just got to.
Well, it's been spoke about all season, hasn't it? How poor the atmosphere's gone, and we've done videos on it, and it's what we found really hard is it's really hard to call out fellow fans. Do you know what I mean? Like, we're on the wrong side of 40, let's be honest. We can't be telling people how things should be or how things used to be in our day. Things have changed in football. So for number one, I'm really glad that you have decided to change things and decide off your own steam to go and do something, because we've had people saying do this and do that, and it's hard to do that. You've got to get organised. So it's nice to see someone get organised. But have you felt like, you mentioned the European games, and I think that's really interesting, because I think for years we've had this fascination with European football and how they have the ultras and how the atmosphere is. But the minute anyone dares mention it in English football, they get ridiculed for it. You've seen the Crystal Palace ultras and people laugh at them, and you're thinking, hang on, how come when it's a European team you think it's the best thing in the world, but as soon as it's a Premier League team there's that cringiness to it?
It's stigma, isn't it? That's all it is, really. You're just getting rid of that. But the only way you're going to get rid of it is just by literally going ahead and doing it.
Yeah. You've got to push through.
Everything's cop-out behaviour now.
Absolutely.
You can't bring your flag, though, can you, into Goodison?
Without it being cop-out behaviour.
Without it being cop-out behaviour.
This is a new thing, though, isn't it? I mean, when I say new, I mean 5-10 years.
It's a social media thing, isn't
it?
Yeah, that's what it is.
If you go look back at 84 Cup final, there's just flags everywhere, Evertonians. You know, you look at
The
pictures.
95 cup final.
Yeah.
They were everywhere. Look at 09 in the semi. Those
Yeah.
Why is it? And I know it's because it's a big game, but why is it acceptable to take flags to Wembley and wear bobble hats and do that and all that?
As well in Europe, when everyone...
Everyone has a flag.
That picture.
I mean, I'll be honest, in 95 I had a balloon for McDonald's because I went for my dinner there before the cup final and all I could get was a balloon. I mean,
Wasn't red, was it?
no, I mean, I do feel like I let people down by just having a balloon, but you know, there you go. I didn't have a flag.
You haven't played the letdown joke,
You know,
have you?
you
But
know.
I think in all of those big games, and you've just rightly said as well, away in Europe, it's look at how boss does that look with all Everton flags and everyone's got the blue. Well, yeah, all right, but why is that not acceptable at Goodison then? It doesn't kind of make sense, does it? You know, it's...
I know, it's like I said before, though, it is stigma. It's just getting rid of that.
Do you think Goodison's become just a habit for so many people that it is like turn up?
Well, it's a chore, isn't it, for the
You said that. You said that. No, you're right though, because I mean, I remember I used to go the pub, go the match, and then go the pub, and then go home. And now I just go the game, pop into the church for a cup of tea,
Praise.
pray, go and watch the match, and then just go home. That's my match day, and that's not because I honestly don't feel like that's because I've got old. It's
Because
just,
you're in the routine.
yeah, it's just become a habit
habit
because it's like, well, what's the point in going for a pint? Because we'll probably end up getting beat, so I ain't gonna not win. I'm not gonna stay out afterwards if we haven't won. Whereas years ago I probably would have, but now I wouldn't anyway. And it's just, I think that's become a thing for a lot of people. It has become this chore. And Everton haven't helped the situation by, I don't think they've done enough for me personally around the ground. I don't think they've...
Just for you?
Well, yeah, just for me, because
That's what
of
it
bleeding
sounded
price of
They
coffee
haven't done
inside
enough
the
for
ground. No, but just,
No,
you know what I mean?
I
So,
know.
I think it's getting out that habit, isn't it? And what's happened is, I think it's because it's gone on for so long, that kids who started going the game when they were really young, that's the only side of football they've seen. Is just turning up, going to match, coming out disappointed and going home. So I think you know what you're trying to do obviously is go, well, there hasn't always been like this. There was something before this.
Yeah, well, I think it's like the majority of season ticket holders, and that's like I think it's something like 20-25% season ticket holders are under 18 or under 16 at Goodison. So they're the people we really need to target.
You want to get into.
Because they're the ones who are going to be there for the future. They're the future. So we really need to target them. That's what we're doing. Like we just want.
How bad is it? How young years come? They're the future.
They are the
You
future.
said, "No, wouldn't make you go." I'm all right, lad. No, but you're absolutely right because, you know, I'd say my 8-year-old's got a season ticket. When we come out of the derby, he was like, "Oh my God, Dad, the noise in there!" He couldn't believe it because all season it's been quiet. No matter
never heard it like
who
that,
we
has he?
played, he's not heard it. It was bouncing. We sit in the upper Bullens, so he's there, you know, with like a lot of our fellas, you know. But he was like buzzing when he come out because the noise was incredible, and you know, that's what you want every week. And you lads are kick-starting that again and giving these other young lads going, oh yeah, we can actually be like that, because believe it or not, Everton were like that, and it's gone. I think, listen, make no mistake, when it turned from standing on the terraces to seating, the atmosphere's got worse and worse. It shouldn't be the only reason, but it was the biggest factor that when you sit down, you then become. You made the point on something we did the other week. We were doing it. Is that you become like you when you watch the match at home. So you sat in your seat at home watching. Can be any game, or if Everton are away, you haven't gone or whatever, and you're just watching the telly, and that's how Goodison has become, because that's a lot of people's experiences. That's how you watch football, and you sit in your seat. If it's not rip-roaring football, you don't really get off your seat. We haven't been great, which is a big understatement, but you're waiting for the team to pick you up. And we'd done something on a Twitter poll the other week about what's, you know, I don't know whether it was on the back of things that you were saying or it was something we were talking about, was it's a time to do something, you know, make something like you lads have, or is it dependent on the team? And like a lot of people were like, dependent on what the team do, and we were like, well, if that's what you're relying on,
You're gonna be waiting a long
you're going to be waiting a long time, because there's no guarantees.
It's like what you've experienced in Germany. Like
Yeah.
you said, you went to a 0-0, Orlando, sorry.
Orlando,
It was a 0-0 game.
Yeah, crap
But you've
game.
seen the fans
But
bounce
this
all
is
day.
it, isn't it? I mean, this
Didn't
is...
stop.
They do play a
It was crap
part.
football there.
Oh,
Do you know what I mean?
exactly.
But what I would say
Massive.
is, just you mentioned the under 18s or whatever
Yeah.
it is. Those kids now who are coming to the match, they've got a choice now. They can stay at home and play Fortnite, or they can stay at home and watch Everton on the telly, or they could go to the match. Now, we go with a nephew, and he's been going since he was 4, and when he was 4 or 5, he absolutely loved it. But he's 13 now, and he's just like, crap. You know, like he's probably got loads of cough like mates in school who are probably just like never been to a game in their lives. We probably give him loads, but he's probably like, I don't need this.
Yeah.
But one of the reasons he's probably like that, or one of the reasons any kids like that, is like they go to the match and he's probably just sit there and go, I could be sitting at home watching this on the telly, and it wouldn't make any difference. Where's the fun?
Yeah.
Oh, people love going to away games, like you have said, because it's a little bit of an adventure. You get on the bus, you can, you have a bevy, you can get down there. It's us against them mentality. You sing, you have a laugh on the way home if you've got beat, which happens more than not. You'd almost forget about you've got beat, because the amount of times, I mean, I've been a couple of times with Hands, and it's like, love that coach. They're all like, I love me mates on the coach. And I went to Watford, and it was a terrible game. But afterwards, we had a good drink and we stayed out. I didn't get into like 3. But I was like, when I got home, I was like, that was a great day. Whereas I'm still like that out in Newcastle, and I watched it in the house. It's still playing on my mind. And I think we've got to get that through to some people, is that football is not just a thing that happens for 90 minutes. It is a culture, and we've lost that. I mean, people used to do all kinds, I know they still do. What they wear and what they read and what they listen to is all dependent on football. And I think we've just completely lost that somewhere. And I think it's not just about singing, it's about a culture, and I think we have to bring that back, and it's all on YouTube.
It is a big... Yeah, like it is a big culture thing in England, because obviously, like you said, the culture in Germany is to get in an hour and a half before the game, sing, wave your flags, get behind the team. But in England, it's what? Go walk in 5 minutes before
Walk in, watch it, get off.
Yeah.
8 pints already and then walk in 5 minutes till kick off.
But don't forget though, that is because the prices of ale in Germany and in the ground is cheaper, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that's...
It was sharp.
I think...
we went to Dusseldorf, I've said this before, so apologies, but we went to Dusseldorf, Nuremberg.
German footy boys,
yeah.
Sorry.
And Nuremberg are bottom of the league. They won 2 games all season. Their fans arrived, got bus from the airport, were in the ground singing like an hour before or half an hour before, flags and everything. They got beat, lost a man after a minute, sent off. It was berserk, but didn't stop singing, and they got beat 3-1 in the end. They were winning for ages. Done in Everton, we're winning with 15 minutes left and got beat 2-1. But their players come down and stood in front of them, and they were all waving the flags and clapping them. Imagine, like, that culture, you're winning 1-0, away from home, you bottom, you get beat 2-1, it'd be like throwing the arms from me and everyone that got up. So it is a culture thing, but that also comes into stuff we were saying last week about trying to encourage fans into the stadium earlier again, and the club. This is where the club have a big role to play in that. They need to examine pricing on stuff and need to get people in and go, listen, get in a bit earlier. The pints aren't £4, the £3 or whatever, a bit closer to pub stuff.
A couple of years ago there was an early bird offer.
Yeah.
If you got into the ground, I think it was an hour or 45 minutes to an hour before.
Yeah.
It was like £1 off your pint or something like
but
that.
you've never heard that now, though, have you?
Well, that should be. Is that? I mean, you've spoke to the club. Obviously, you.
We asked about like
you're talking to
lowering
them.
the prices off stuff like that, but like they said, they've got certain contracts to like put out and stuff, and they can't.
But that's things where the club are gonna have to look at that. If they really want atmosphere, they're gonna, because I don't know which I was talking to someone on your Twitter. I don't even know which one of his it was, but we talking about, or I seen one of his tweets about it, about culture. It's not just about. I know. Listen, we spoke loads about the rail seat and the safe standing, and we're gonna be putting videos about it next week. And I think there's this idea that that's going to solve everything, but it's not, because it needs a culture change. Yeah. I'm sure you know this. I mean, like when we were in Germany, getting into the ground early, because you've got to. Because like you were saying before, now with my ticket, I'm in the Gladys seat, I'm in GT5, but I can still turn up at 2 minutes to 3 and happily sit down and not worry about one thing and sit there for the entire game and then get up and go home. And I'm not saying, you know, we should all sit wherever we want, but there has to be a culture change within us if we really want this to go forward and get a good atmosphere.
But we're all getting tickets together. We're going to try and get tickets together from Chelsea on the weekend to like the end of the season.
Yeah,
that'll be decent. We're just going to try and push it to try and see if anything can happen.
Yeah,
we encouraging any people who want to get in early, and we'll be with we've got loads of people with the flags and that out on Chelsea again, and Arsenal as well. We've got a couple of plans for them. Excellent. So we're just going to be all in there early, so we do just encourage everyone again just to get in early. The Gladys Street,
I think it's vitally important, because I walk in 2 minutes to 3 in the upper bull and sit down, watch the match, and get me lad, and we go home. You know what I mean? And so it's not necessarily something I'm going to change, but there's loads of lads who sit behind a goal who won't be in the same area as you, who might be thinking, I'd have a go with that, I wouldn't mind having a go with that. And it's leading by what you two are doing, and all your mates who've brought this together, is you're leading by example. You're going, I've had enough of this. We've had enough of this coming to the game and wanting to sing, and no one's interested.
Well, everyone wants it though, don't they?
Yeah,
just no one wants to make the first
something about. Well, that's society. That's society. No, it's true though. People want things, but people are not willing to give anything up for things. That happens everywhere, and you know, I get to the game an hour before kick-off, and then it's like, well, what should we do now? We get to there an hour before because we've got to park our car. It's like, well, what do we do now? So we used to, you know, we go in the church, and we still do. But if we could get in the ground and there was something to do in the ground, or something to even see in the ground, or the ale was cheaper, or the coffee was cheaper, or the food was cheaper, or there was even somewhere we could grab a coffee and have a sit down, you know, I think that all plays its part. I know people might think, well, it doesn't, but it does, because if you're there, you're adding to the atmosphere. And I think as an atmosphere builds within the ground, is allowed to build slowly. I mean, before the derby, people were on the concourses underneath the Galaxy. The atmosphere was getting going, and people are always just going to carry that upstairs and keep that going. But when people are just getting there 5 minutes before, and it's flat, and you know, you're like, all right, mate. So you see your mates, and then you go upstairs and you sit down. You haven't seen them for a couple of weeks, so you're chatting about bollocks while the game's going on. Yeah. I mean, it happens all the time, doesn't it? Let's be honest. And then it's like, you know, people are standing up in front, and people are like, sit down, will you? I'm trying to have a conversation here. But if people are in the mindset before, as soon as they get in that ground, well, this is different now. I think that's got a major. That's where the club have got a major part. I think maybe not this season, but going forward.
Yeah, we've got to push the club really to make changes. Like you said before, even if there's a place where they can sit down and just have a cup of coffee or a cup of tea or even a pint in the concourse, you don't know whether that'll fix the problem until you do it and have a go.
Yeah.
So we just want to do anything, to be honest, to get it going. So we will do anything, to be honest, to get it going.
Anything.
Anything. But you've got to try it, haven't you?
Even if it's I don't know about the megaphone.
No.
Megaphone
leave the megaphone for Bally. You can do that. But even that though, that was it was a lovely idea, but it was just ill thought out. The idea of just giving someone a megaphone without anyone around them knowing what was going on.
No organisation. Like
exactly. Whereas I think what is important about you is you're starting from small, and and everyone's onto you now. Everyone's saying those lads are doing something, and it's almost well, they're doing all the hard work for us. That's what people will think, and that's where they'll start helping you, because by nature we're all lazy. We want someone else to do everything for us. But if you're passionate enough to do something, then it's like anything in life. It's like, oh, I wish I'd done that. But if you got off your arse, you might have. And you are doing that, and hopefully that'll get people to say, well, I can't do that all week because I've got this or I've got that. But at the match, I will join in. And ultimately, that's all you want, isn't it? You just want people to join in and get that atmosphere going.
Yeah, just give it a go and just see what happens. If no one joins in with you when you're singing, then at least you can just say, like, when no one was singing with us, like Atalanta and that, we just walked away from the ground going, you know what, we done our bit.
Yeah, exactly right.
That's all we want really, just the people to just have a go.
I think if you continue to grow, then what happens within stadiums is if you've got 30 of you, say for argument's sake, in a corner or wherever you can get together in the stadium, you start singing. 30 people can make a good bit of noise. Yeah. So then other people then just latch onto it then. It's not like two lads standing up going, hey, and then people going, you know, joining in with only 2 of them. But if 30 of you are together making a noise, then it will reverberate round the street end, because the street end will sing. It's just getting them going.
It's the first person to sing, getting everyone else going.
That's it.
But the issue is literally getting the first.
Yeah.
So you're a group who will do that, aren't you? So so you're almost like the conductors, really, for the. Well, you are, aren't you? Because, and it don't, as we were saying off camera before we started, I think it doesn't even take 40,000 people to sing. I think you said it on camera as well. At Leicester there was 2,000. Well, if you start that end singing and 50% of the Gladys Street sings, that's about 6,000 people or whatever in that end singing. Makes a lot of noise in our stadium. And then other people go, then the park end starts. And so that's going to help.
Saying, though, with 30 people, if 30 people sing, then you'll have another 30 people who go, hang on, they're having a go.
Yeah. And that's it.
They look like they're having a good time. And then you'll have another 30 people. And then just slowly, it'll start to think, because people are sheep, aren't they, really?
Well, they are, because no one wants to be the first one.
No one wants to be the first people to stand up and start singing.
But like you were saying before, though, one of the big problems is, whether we like it or not, is we all have our seats, and we can't necessarily pick the person who sits next to us, and the person who sits next to him. And the way it's gone over years and years is that obviously you have your little bits and bobs, and people will sing, and that person won't sing, and it's hard to just create noise in a certain area. Or you'll hear songs. I hear all the time the Gladys seats. I'll hear songs at one end, and it's a different song at the other end, and you're thinking, well, if we were all singing the same thing, then you'd get a bit of a noise. It'd sound better, and it's fine than that. And hopefully, you said before you get in the corner. Hopefully hopefully if we get to Bramley Moor Dock, you'll get a nice little space in the front. Keep it going with a bigger set of people. And then what you'll find then is you'll have a lot more power to affect things as well, because obviously abroad, those ultras now, who will probably started out exactly the way you are starting out, have the power to control tickets and who goes in what area and things like that, and where you want to be in the ground, all these little things that will help the atmosphere. Because what you've got on your side is the manager came out after the last game and the players and said the atmosphere was incredible today. Best atmosphere we've ever felt. And this is something we spoke about in the last couple of weeks, where if you were a player at Everton you signed in the last couple of years, you're probably like, the atmosphere is shite.
Yeah,
why have I got any love for this club apart from playing for them? There's no connection between the fans and the players.
Then, when like Marco Silva came out outside the game and said the atmosphere, if he said, if we have 70% of what that is, the game, 30% of the game's won.
Yeah, but people need to look at that now, don't they, and say, you know what, we actually do affect the players. We can make a change.
Yeah. We as a fan base, if we can help those players and they win, then we can stand up and go, we've done our part. And if we play and the team get beat but they've done their job, then you can walk out going, that was great, that's a day. Yeah. And suddenly what you get there is you get a feel-good factor about going the match, and players start to latch onto that, and they, whether we like it or not, they try that little bit extra. I know all players will say we try as hard as we can, but they don't, and it's not.
But they proved that against Liverpool.
No, I know, but what I'm saying is that it's not a thing where they go, I'm trying not to work hard today. It's just that something, that little extra tiny bit comes out where they're willing to just do anything they can to make sure that they win. And if you walk out of a game and go, I've had a boss time today, you'll just be, I want to come next week and I want to come.
That's ultimately what
that's all you want,
though, enjoy, just people to enjoy going.
Because you go to the match anyway.
Because like we said, it's like becoming a chore now for people. And obviously you're paying £500 for your ticket a year.
Just sit there.
Do you want to go sit
you
there
should.
and
the
sit
price,
your arsehole game?
The prices of football now, though, it's crazy. But because the prices are crazy, you need to go and enjoy yourself.
You've got to, haven't you?
More.
You've got
what is the point? You said earlier, you might as well just go and watch it at home.
Yeah. You can now, and that's the other thing, you can. You can, it's getting easier and easier and easier to watch games of footy on telly. So you might as well just stay in your pyjamas.
You pay £500 to go and watch 19 crap films, you wouldn't go again, would you? You'd be like, every film you went to watch, you come out and went, that was crap. Everyone's asleep in the cinema. You were just like, this is terrible. Why do you want to keep going back? And it's like I was saying to Pedlin the other week, on that point he was talking about players. Under David Moyes, because he made it feel like it was us against the world because he didn't have any money, the crowd were right behind that team. So that's why Tim Cahill's giving it all. I love this club, and Tim Howard and all that, because there was a relationship between the players and the fans, because there had to be. We had to try and help them as much as we could because we were skint, and because of that, they give us good moments against Liverpool, and we beat United. We beat all the top teams under Moyes at Goodison. All right, away we didn't, but at home we did, because fans would behind it and that atmosphere would be there. I think what we've moved away from since Moyes left, after Martinez's first season, because the footy hasn't been great and people have been getting wound up and frustrated, rightly so. We've been starved of anything. It is easier to just come detach yourself from the game. And so as a footballer coming to Everton with no affiliation to Everton, could you look through that Everton team and go and ask any of those players and go, do you love playing for this? Do you love the fans? They would go, oh yeah, but realistically to the mates they're probably like, oh, the atmosphere's a bit crap, so why am I going to fall? We're not brilliant, we're not great, we're not going to win anything at the moment, so why should I fall in love with this club? But if our fans are fervently backing them and you are singing with your flags and all that, they're going to get that connection and go, I'm going to give everything for these, and that's how that love starts. And I think that's where the disconnection is with players, with fans now as well, on both sides. I think we look and go, I don't care if any of these leave, I'm not really bothered. Whereas a few years ago, the thought of someone you liked leaving, you'd be like, oh no, don't go. Now you're like, you know what I mean?
I know what you mean, it's spot on. I can't even add anything else to that, to be honest.
So it is in your hands, lads. We're giving you the power to go and make every player love us.
You mentioned before the under-23s and the under-18s as well. Is there going to be, obviously next couple of weeks, I think we've got the under-23s got a big chance to win the league. Is there going to be a big push?
Aren't we our own Friday night?
I don't know, Steve, they should be there, shouldn't they?
We're playing Friday, I know that. I don't know whether
we're going to, I think the under-18s are still in the cup.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
So we've got stuff planned for there.
Excellent.
But we're focusing on the main team now. That's where people actually turn.
We've had obviously the club gave us the trial.
Yeah.
For that section for the under 18 against Brighton, and that was a success. So they gave us, the possibility for our sections.
Yeah. You know what would be brilliant if
the bigger games.
They play the
play Brighton, don't they? On the 20.
Play Brighton at home,
and
that could be potentially as a title decider. So I know you might be busy or whatever, but that'd be a really good one. That'd be a really good. Get a section behind.
That'd be a really
goal or something.
That'd be a really good call for people to say. If you really the under 23, you've got a chance of winning a trophy at Goodison Park. We were there the last time they won the under 23. They got beat by Liverpool, but
in Everton.
But it was I think 7,000 turned up, and it was a really good night. And I think that could be a really good chance, because especially if you said to the club, maybe, give us GT4 and GT3 in the Gladys Street, and it'll just be us and nobody else. And if you could get people, that's maybe where you could draw people in and say, this is going to be a big one tonight for us, because we're going to get a trophy, we're going to help get a trophy. That could be a good one just to show the club as well. I mean.
Yeah, the club are working with us, the
that's
good. Yeah, but you need that though, don't you? Know?
Well, it's hand in hand. It's got to be. Yeah. It's got to be.
Okay, no, without better.
No, but that's football. No. That's football everywhere now. There's no, you've got to have that. And from what we've seen of the club, they are quite good. If you come up with an idea and it's, they can. They'll look at it and as long as it works with the way they want it, they'll always help you. So I think you've got that. So what are the plans? You mentioned this season. What are the plans, hopefully, for next season and moving forward?
Next season tickets together. Probably see what we can do.
Yeah.
Just see what comes up. You've got to take anywhere now. So even if the season tickets in GT8,
right.
But obviously we're going to announce it on our Twitter or something like that, just to say, get tickets and get season tickets in GT8 or GT1, wherever.
If you're interested in becoming it.
That's where we
that's what you're looking for. I mean, that's a really important thing. You're trying to get you together, as many of you together as possible, because we were talking off camera before, but it's about almost future-proofing it, isn't it, for Bramley Moore? Because if you can create something moving forward, then hopefully in the new stadium they can just lash us all in together, people who want to be together, and then half the battle's done, because the club needs you. It needs a group like this. It needs someone who's going to go, we'll stand up and we're going to do our bit to help you.
Is there anything from like European football that you'd love to do but you can't do because obviously the way we're a little bit different? Is there anything you'd love to pull from European football?
Not really, you know.
Sure you don't want to be at the front with the microphone on the thing.
On the little, the little bandstands that they have, like that, and that being the cheerleader. You sure you don't want that?
No, not. And we want to keep it as much, but it's like English as possible, really. But we do want to. We just literally all we want to do is just make a good atmosphere, just sing.
Yeah,
that's all we want. Yeah.
Well, you're encouraging like more flags and stuff. I know people have a problem with it, with flags and that, like banners. But I think the flags are brilliant up until kick-off, and then because people will probably be like, "Hang on." No, I'm not. I'm saying this is what you're going to experience, aren't you? If you've got loads of flags and people aren't really on board with it,
it'll be like, crap. Put the flags down. Put the flag back up.
Yeah, put it up sometimes. Yeah. Is there any more of that, or is it more like, is it scarves? And because what we saw again, German footy balls, what we saw on our thing, and what I saw in Orlando, and what we saw at that Atlanta game, and teams like that. They all wear the same colours, don't they?
Yeah.
So I think that'd be a good if everyone could wear blue, maybe, or whatever. Listen, I know people might be going, "What the fuck?" But what I mean is, it just looks impressive. Like when you can when you all have that same.
It's like when we talked about earlier. No one goes the. I think it was off camera. I'm not sure. No one goes the game in like an Everton shirt anymore. I don't see anyone in an Everton shirt anymore. Do you in blue?
Just get a blue coat.
Or, yeah, blue coat every now and
then. Blue coat, yeah.
I think that's it. No, but I think that's an interesting thing. It's things like that. It creates unity.
Small things.
It creates unity. If it's
like you were going back with like the casual scene.
Yeah.
And like,
well, it's called.
You know, like they always used to turn up in the field attack.
Yeah.
Like the always used.
Are we gonna have the velour wall?
And like that created a sense of unity between them, and then they were all together.
But imagine if you all had blue on.
Yeah,
everyone would be like, even if it's a blue coat or a blue hoodie or an Everton shirt, if it was warm, never warm enough, that's the problem. But if you did, everyone would know, wouldn't you?
It's called the yellow wall for a reason.
Well, of course,
because everyone wears yellow on it. But it creates unity. It's little things like that I think people have got to start getting behind now, and it might be in small numbers and then building just to be like. Because the club do it enough. I think this is where the club can help. Where they have things like retro days and things like that. The club could start doing things like wear blue day or whatever. We've seen that fans and the club, when they've had things in the park end with the placards, they can work together. We've seen this, and fans will take it on board. You don't see many people when in the park and when they put the things up, people lash them. They go, "No, I've got to do this because otherwise I'm going to look stupid."
Yeah.
So I think if the club did encourage little things like that, wear blue day. Last game, the season's against Burnley at home. I know wear blue, whether it be your coat or whatever. I know it sounds stupid, but you just imagine if we were all in the lower Gladys, let's say, and we all had blue on, whether it be a coat or a jumper or a top. Everyone's got blue on it. Suddenly you've got all you can see is just blue.
It's a blue wall.
It's a blue wall. I know that people might. I don't care if people cringe at that. Things have got to start changing, and things like that help. Bringing flags, scarves, getting it back to not necessarily what it used to be like, but just something new, something to go forward, something to say. Actually, we're all doing our part. Yeah. They might be shite or whatever, but we're all doing our part, and we're all having a laugh, and we're enjoying going to game again.
But like I said earlier, we're all getting in early for Chelsea, so we are bringing loads of flags and banners. So if anyone
encouraging other people to bring flags,
if anyone wants to bring anything, even yourselves, if you've got any flags or banners, you can sit there waiting them around.
Might still have me balloon.
Your balloon from the start. No, but I think that's really important. Is put that message out there that you're going to be in early. What do you go in the concourse and then go up? Do you go to your seats early? Is that the plan, or what? What's the?
Probably just go to the seats early. Yeah, see if we can get it going in the concourse. But obviously, not many people might be in. But we will be getting in the seats early.
Will you?
Just like the derby early.
And then just trying to start things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Encouraging like more like colour and stuff.
Yeah.
Like even that. I think like if you look at photos from the 80s where you've got the big Everton armadic, and you've got all like the Union Jack flags and stuff like that. Like, why can't we recreate something like that?
Yeah, I'd love to see banners all the way across the Gladys Street.
Well, we have two up there.
Yeah, there's two up there, but I mean right the way across, and then because that becomes like a European kind of.
Are you working with the Gladys Street boys? Is it? Have you spoke to them?
We spoke to them briefly, yeah.
Yeah.
About
See, again,
getting some banners.
See, that's another thing. If you lads could work with them lads, and again, it all just helps. I know you might be separate from each other and have different things you want to do, but again, that all just helps. It all just plays its part in creating a better atmosphere. Two things though: no perms or moustaches from the 80s, and if I hear a drum, yous are done.
No, yeah. I think Gladys Street boys, I think they've got something going for Sunday against Chelsea. And
okay.
we're doing something in the park end as well, yeah. But not going to too much.
No, you know,
detail.
that's all right. That's fine. It's something for people to look out for as well. I think it's good just to see the momentum that has built up now from the derby. And I think for a lot of for some people, and there will always be naysayers, it's about majority rule at the end of the day. And I think a lot of people came out of that derby going, I've played me, used definitely, but a lot of people, I think, even in the sides, on the sides of the ground and stuff, come out going, I sung a bit more than I normally do, and I shouted a bit more, and I got involved in the game a bit more than I did today, and the players responded, so I feel good about that. You come home going, all right, I didn't win, but you know what, felt good going to that game, and I think that's the atmosphere you're trying to create, that when we play Burnley, or when we've got Fulham, I know we've played
every
Fulham,
game's a big game now to the end of the season, isn't it?
Every game's a big game.
Chelsea,
anyway,
Arsenal, Man United, Burnley's the last home game. So that always takes care of itself. So every game now has got something on it which can help create a good atmosphere.
And let's be honest, the team needs us to help them, doesn't it? Let's be honest, So, you know, hopefully we'll go forward and you will get bigger and the team will get better and it'll be great. But at the minute, they need every bit of help they can get to push them on. So, listen, I think it's absolutely outstanding what you're doing. It's brilliant, and just continue doing what you're doing and make it bigger, do it better, because that's how it'll grow. Yeah, you know,
no pressure.
No, listen, they started it. It's up to everybody else to take them out on once you started. That's all. You're literally the touch paper, aren't you? You're setting it on, and everyone else is there to try and help. So, what is it, if anyone wants to get involved with you, is get in touch with you, is it? Or is there anything you want to say to anyone out there? Or
just everyone get an early against Chelsea, and even if you want to help us with anything, even if it's like designing banners or literally anything, or whether you want to take a part and get a season ticket next to us next season, just go on Twitter and DM us.
So what's your Twitter?
It's Originals 1878.
So do it now if you want to get involved, so that for next season you can be ready for it to explode.
And also back the lads on Twitter as well, give them a little thumbs up and all that to show, because we do appreciate it. Everybody appreciates it, but the most important people who appreciated it was the manager and the players, because ultimately that's what we're going for. We're going to watch Everton hopefully win football matches, and for them to come out and go on about the atmosphere, you know, that's the biggest thing you need, the biggest pat on the back you can get, really. So get behind it, because listen, it's been crap up until the derby. To have it right, the atmosphere, the derby showed us what it can be like. So, and I think it can be even better than that anyway. So we'll have the siren again, I think, at the weekend and all that probably. So it all feeds into it, doesn't it? So let's show Ross what he's missing, and let's win the game and back the lads, more importantly.
Yeah, there you go. Big thanks for the Originals for coming in, sharing their story with us, back them, get in touch with them on Twitter. Thanks for watching. We'll see you later.